Happy March 27th, everyone. Hunter here again at North Central Weather Center. And in today's forecast, we will be walking you through an active period through late March and early April, temperatures, precipitation, and more in today's weather forecast. If you are new here, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below for accurate weather forecasts throughout the year. Also, be sure to press the like button, the thumbs up button down below. It helps out more than you know. Let's look at today's weather forecast on your Wednesday, March 27th. And you can see here's our surface map, and our cold front with our latest storm system has now moved east of our viewing area, and high pressure, double-barreled area of high pressure up here across the Dakotas and down across the Central Plains will leave us with dry weather and more sunshine through your Wednesday across our viewing area. But let's look at our weather alerts, especially down here toward the Central Plains this morning. We have freeze warnings across the Missouri Ozarks region, back through Kansas City, getting into eastern Kansas, and then outside of our viewing area into Oklahoma and Arkansas there. So definitely seeing some cold air. Looking at our low temperatures this morning, we're waking up into the single digits above zero across portions of our north, teens and 20s across our central areas here, and 30s across our far east this morning. And looking at those wind chill values, we are below zero up here across portions of the Dakotas into western Minnesota this morning, especially enhanced by our dense snowpack here. So very cold air across our northern viewing area. And let's look at our precipitation through the day. This morning, outside of a couple flurries or snow showers in northern Minnesota or the UP of Michigan, we are really dry across the board. And as we go into this afternoon, again, outside of a flurry or a sprinkle, we're really pretty dry across portions of our viewing area. And then that carries over into the evening hours. So a very dry Wednesday on tap for most of us here, but also a windy day, especially if you live up into the upper Midwest, Great Lakes region here, such as eastern Dakotas, Minnesota, Wisconsin, or Michigan. We're going to see some gustier winds today, gusting over 20 miles per hour out of the north and west. And then that carries over into tonight, where wind gusts up there could be approaching 30 miles per hour at times. But our central and southwestern areas here into the Dakotas, Nebraska, Missouri, and Kansas, western Iowa, a lot of those areas seeing very light winds through today and tonight. So that is some good news. Let's look at late week to round out the work week, Thursday, March 28th into Friday, March 29th here. And you can see our temperatures will be on a quick rebound back into the 50s and 60s here across portions of our central and southern viewing area. So as you go down here into Nebraska, Iowa, Kansas, Missouri, southern and central Illinois, and even Indiana, temperatures will be well back into the 50s and 60s. As we go into Friday, again, our north will be colder for the foreseeable future, with our deep snowpack on the ground keeping those temperatures into the 30s and 40s. But where we don't have snow on the ground, temperatures easily achieving the 60s or the 70s on Friday afternoon, especially in Kansas and Missouri during that time frame. Let's look at our precipitation late week. Very dry on Thursday, so go out and enjoy those warmer temperatures, especially across our central and southern viewing area. And Thursday night, very dry as well, outside of a sprinkle possibly in the Dakotas. And going into Friday, while I can't rule out a shower or a snow shower here across the Dakotas, I think, again, most of us will remain dry going into Friday during the day. But a quick moving storm system Friday night could bring us some rain or snow, some very light precipitation across the upper Midwest, maybe a heavier rainfall event across eastern Iowa, northern Illinois, so Chicago back through Rockford, and also the Davenport Quad Cities region, seeing some heavier rainfall possibly as we go into Friday night. Those areas that do see the heavier rainfall, eastern Iowa into northern Illinois, possibly southwestern lower Michigan, could see a narrow zone of a ½ inch to 1.5 inches of rain just Friday night alone. So watching out for some flash flooding concerns across those areas. Now moving into Easter weekend and early next week, so from Saturday, March 30th through April 2nd, next Tuesday, we're keeping an eye on a bigger storm system, but we are also keeping an eye on a warm-up as well, continuing continuing into the Easter weekend holiday time frame. You can see warming up above normal temperature anomalies across our south, still below normal with our deep snowpack to the north as we go into Easter weekend. And going into early next week, we're going to see another cold front shifting across the region Monday, April 1st into Tuesday, April 2nd. That will leave a lot of us here across our region below normal with our temperatures. So let's look at those temperatures here as we enter into the Easter weekend time frame. This is Saturday, March 30th. Again, our south are going to be warmer where we have no snow on the ground. Temperatures well into the 50s and 60s. Where there is snow on the ground, we're definitely going to see temperatures a lot cooler into the 30s and 40s. But we will slowly begin to melt our snowpack with those temperatures each day into the 30s above freezing and also into the 40s. And then you can see on Easter Sunday, we're approaching 80 down here in our far southern areas, into the Missouri Ozarks region, into Kansas as we go into Easter Sunday. And then you can see early next week on Monday, here comes that cold front shifting across our region. Our warmer areas will be in the southeast and east, colder areas in the northwest and west, and then all of us getting in on the colder air as we go into Tuesday early next week on April 2nd, where high temperatures area wide will be likely into the 40s and the 50s. So let's look at our precipitation moving through Easter weekend. On Saturday, outside of a few showers or a thunderstorm or even a snow shower across our Great Lakes and Ohio Valley region, pretty dry to go around as we go into Saturday. Easter Sunday, a warm frontal boundary will be setting up somewhere across the Midwest and the Central Plains over here into the Ohio Valley. To the north of that boundary, we're obviously going to see cooler weather, but rounds of precipitation as well on Easter Sunday. And then going into Monday, April 1st, rounds of precipitation along that warm front will keep our temperatures down, but a lot of rainfall and a heavier snowfall event as well across the same areas we've seen. Minneapolis, St. Paul to Eau Claire, up there to Duluth, and then back through Rapid City there in South Dakota, seeing some decent snows potentially on Monday. And then we have to watch these rounds of precipitation here across Iowa, southern Wisconsin, northern Illinois, into northern Indiana and Michigan. These could be some thunderstorms, but they could kind of reposition our warm front further to the south. So we'll have to watch that for severe weather potential early next week. And then as we go into Tuesday, all of that precipitation really moving east of our area. So let's look here at our snowfall prospects with this next storm. This is the ECMWF model, the European model from Saturday, March 30th through early next week on Tuesday, April 2nd. And you can see it has a narrow and robust swath of snow from the UP of Michigan back through the north woods of Wisconsin, through Minnesota, and especially down here into South Dakota and northern portions of Nebraska of around 6 to 12 inches. You do look at the GFS, the American model guidance, and you can see it's actually a lot different with our snowfall amounts and also a little bit of the placement as well. But then you look over at the European ensemble guidance. This gives you an average of the track, the placement, and the intensity of the snow, and it gives us a nice swath. Again, much like the operational European model from South Dakota, Nebraska, especially northern Nebraska, through portions of central and southern Minnesota, northern Iowa, through Wisconsin, into the UP of Michigan and northern lower Michigan from Saturday, March 30th through Tuesday, April 2nd here. We have to also look at the warm side of the system. Very heavy rains across our east here through the Illinois Valley, the Ohio Valley, and down toward the Ozarks region, definitely seeing some pretty heavy rain. The area that I'm concerned about missing out on some of the rainfall through early next week is Kansas and southern Nebraska. Really not seeing much, if any, precipitation through next Tuesday as it looks now. And looking at our severe weather potential, this is your surface-based CAPE, convective available potential energy, otherwise known as instability. This is for Easter Sunday, and notice those instability values stretching over 1,000 to 1,500 joules per kilogram into Missouri around the Ozarks near St. Louis, and then back into eastern Kansas there on Easter Sunday. And you can see during the day, a couple of stronger thunderstorms cannot be ruled out in places like St. Louis, down towards Springfield, Jefferson City. We'll keep an eye on that. As we go into Easter Sunday night, these storms, if they can remain south of our warm front here in the Ohio Valley and Midwest, they could become surface-based and also produce some damaging winds, large hail, and maybe a couple of tornadoes even at night there on Easter Sunday. We'll keep an eye on that. If they are north of the warm front, these would likely still potentially be severe, but also mainly just be hail producers. So we'll keep an eye on that. And then going into early next week on Monday, April 1st, more instability, a bigger instability reservoir to work with. Not significant, but just more widespread. 500 joules per kilogram to around 1,500 joules per kilogram there on Monday. Starting off the day with some isolated, widely scattered, stronger storms. And then I think a mesoscale convective system, or what is called an MCS, will start to develop here with initial supercells capable of producing tornadoes somewhere across the Midwest or Ohio Valley. We'll be dropping south with a big squall line through the lower Ohio River Valley through the Missouri Ozarks as we go into Monday night, producing damaging winds, large hail, and still a tornado threat. And then as we go into Tuesday, instability moves off to the east and weakens, so I don't think Tuesday will be that big of a deal for severe weather, and you can see that moves out of our region. As we go into the middle of next week through the following weekend, so from Wednesday, April 3rd through Sunday, April 7th here, looking at our temperature anomalies during that period from Wednesday to Sunday during that 3rd through 7th time frame of April, around or above normal are what our temperatures will likely look like there throughout most of the viewing area, and also pretty dry or normal with our precipitation, driest across the east, wettest across the west and northwest, especially up here into the Dakotas. And that is an area where we'll definitely keep an eye on some of that, definitely keep an eye on some of that colder weather. And you looking at our precipitation here, anomalies definitely looking pretty healthy there across the Northwest. And then looking at our snowfall as well, there could be enough cold air there across portions of the Dakotas into western Nebraska where we could be squeezing out an inch, maybe 2, maybe 3, maybe 4 inches of snow going through that stretch from Wednesday, April 3rd through Sunday, April 7th. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. If you did enjoy today's weather forecast, consider subscribing to the channel so you get more of these videos in the long term. Also, be sure to press the like button, the thumbs up button down below if you did enjoy today's weather content. Thank you guys so much for watching. My name is Hunter with North Central Weather Center, and I'll see you all on Friday.